This video is sponsored to you today by Fanatics, the best place to shop for the latest and greatest fan gear. Right now, Fanatics is having a sale on autographed sports memorabilia. As you guys can see here on the wall, I do have a couple of things. I do have Dr. J, Julius Erving, the OG, up there at the top. Right under Dr. J, we got Nick Foles with the autographed engraving right there. And then on the other side of that big, nice Eagles poster, Devontae Smith and Landon Dickerson, you can also see the autographed strip sack by Brandon Graham himself, BG. Make sure you check out the link in the description if you would like to support the channel while supporting your team, getting the latest fan gear. Also, use promo code 24SHIP for free shipping off your next order. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that Nick Foles is remembered as the Super Bowl hero. But what about Nick Foles before the Super Bowl? What about Nick Foles' first stint in Philadelphia? We all know that he put up some big numbers and showed promise in his younger years. But then Chip Kelly took over the team in 2013 as the head coach, preceding Andy Reid, and the ego and everything just kind of went to his head, and he obviously ruined the team. And it's actually a miracle that the Philadelphia Eagles rebounded from that actually and won a Super Bowl in 2017. In this video, 7 years later from the Nick Foles Sam Bradford trade, we are going to take a look at that trade, how good or bad it truly was, and all the events that led up to it. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, as it is totally free. So, as we all know, Nick Foles is remembered as being the Super Bowl hero in 2017, taking over for an injured Carson Wentz. But what if I told you Nick Foles actually showed a lot of promise before then? What if Nick Foles could have been a franchise quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, but he just wasn't given a fair chance by the team? Obviously, Foles was drafted in 2012 in the third round of the NFL draft by the Eagles, and he did take over and start a few games for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2012 in place of an injured Michael Vick at the time. And then he didn't have a lot of success. The team was very, very bad. They went 4-12 that season. Nick Foles only won one game, his one win being against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road, in which he led a game-winning drive, finding Jeremy Maclin in the end zone for the game-winning touchdown of that game. The following season, at the end of 2012, Andy Reid was let go, and Chip Kelly was brought in as the next head coach of the team from the University of Oregon. He brought with him his spread college offense that was supposed to revolutionize the NFL. But as we know with Chip Kelly, it did not work out that way, as he was let go from the team following the 2015 season after he made all these moves to bring in players that were supposedly going to be a better fit for his offensive schemes. But Nick Foles lit up the football world, and he took the NFL by storm in 2013, his second year in the league, when Michael Vick got injured against the New York Giants with a hamstring injury. Nick Foles stepped in and never looked back. Nick Foles had a lot of great performances that year, as he boasted one of the best touchdown to interception ratios in NFL history, throwing 27 touchdown passes to only 2 interceptions. And don't forget about his most unforgettable performance against the Oakland Raiders on the road, in which he threw 7 touchdown passes. Only Peyton Manning and one other quarterback that's slipping my mind right now was able to put up that kind of numbers. So Nick Foles really showed a lot of promise and led the Eagles to the NFC East title. Don't forget, the Eagles were 3-6, and then they ended up winning 7 of their last 8 games, and they finished the season 10-6, won the division title, hosted a home playoff game against the New Orleans Saints, in which Nick Foles played very, very well. He actually went toe-to-toe with Drew Brees. The only problem is the defense was just not good enough, as they gave up the game-winning drive. Kerry Williams had a horse collar tackle, which costed the team 15-yard penalty on Darren Sproles, which pretty much gave the Saints a shorter field and made it easier for them to get in field goal range to win that game. However, Nick Foles did lead the field with the lead. The following season, Nick Foles obviously was not putting up the same type of numbers, as the NFL was starting to catch up to him after he caught the NFL by storm the year prior. However, Foles did still have the team in a position to win a lot of those games, as he did start off the season 6-2 before getting injured with a collarbone injury against the Houston Texans, and that was Nick Foles' last game as a Philadelphia Eagle, or so we thought, until he was brought back in 2017 to back up Carson Wentz. The Eagles would finish the season 10-6 that year, but they lost 3 straight games down the stretch, and they did not make the playoffs. The following season was when the infamous trade went down between the St. Louis Rams at the time, before they went back to Los Angeles, their home right now, where they just won the Super Bowl at home. And the Philadelphia Eagles traded their Pro Bowl quarterback Nick Foles for Sam Bradford. And this is one of the biggest trades that caused a major outrage in the Philadelphia Eagles fan base, because a lot of people felt as though Nick Foles was a guy who could lead this team to the promised land. And he ended up doing that. He just didn't do it the way that I think a lot of people probably anticipated that he would. But he still got the job done at the end of the day. But as far as being a franchise quarterback, he never got a real opportunity. You know, he was run out of town entirely too fast. He pretty much only played 3 seasons with the Philadelphia Eagles, not even 3 full seasons, because he got injured. And he was pretty much ran out of town for Sam Bradford, who was the epitome of an average quarterback. Sam Bradford ended up only playing 1 season for the Philadelphia Eagles, in which he only went 7-7 as a starter. The Eagles did not make the playoffs. Sam Bradford only passed for 19 touchdowns and 14 interceptions, as the Eagles would finish 7-9, and then Chip Kelly was obviously fired at the end of that season. But as for Nick Foles, he went to the Rams. He was being coached by Jeff Fisher, who we all know is one of the worst football coaches in NFL history, and his career pretty much went to a downward spiral at that point, being coached by Jeff Fisher. And Nick Foles actually went on a camping trip right during the 2016 offseason, when he received a phone call from Andy Reid, who basically had to talk him out of retirement. And then Foles ended up going to Kansas City for 1 season. He played a game and a half. Alex Smith got injured against the Indianapolis Colts. Foles finished that game, and he started the following game. And being with Andy Reid really helped him gain his confidence back after it was all but destroyed by Jeff Fisher. Then Foles returned to Philadelphia as a backup to Carson Wentz. We all know the rest is history. Carson Wentz goes down against the Los Angeles Rams in the Coliseum at the time, and Nick Foles takes over, finishes that game, and he finishes the entire season. He goes through the playoffs, has an outstanding, magnificent performance against the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship, and goes toe-to-toe with Tom Brady and delivers the first ever Super Bowl in Philadelphia Eagles history. But as far as Nick Foles, I really don't believe that he was given a fair opportunity to be the guy. And obviously, when Sam Bradford took over in the 2014 season, after the Eagles started 6-2, you know, he had a good performance against the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving. One of my best Thanksgiving memories is beating the Cowboys, but we were trash with Sam Bradford. We were also trash with Sam Bradford, but we were also trash with Mark Sanchez. He was not good enough to get the job done. If Nick Foles didn't get injured that season, I think it would have ended a lot differently, and Nick Foles would have never been traded in the first place. We all know that Nick Foles actually ran Chip Kelly's offensive system even better than Sam Bradford was supposed to. And you saw it basically when the Eagles kind of had to change their offensive schemes in 2017 to help out Nick Foles, because he could not run the same plays as Carson Wentz. But when it comes to the RPO system and a lot of plays that Chip Kelly's offense was containing, Nick Foles was on the money on that, which is why he had so much success with that in 2013. But he was run out of town. I honestly think it was a terrible trade that should have never happened. But what are you going to do? Chip Kelly was an egomaniac, a terrible football coach, and there's a reason that nobody has heard his name in quite some time after the 49ers fired him a few years ago. The rest is pretty much history. But anyway, guys, I want to know what your thoughts on that trade. Now that it's been several years, it was been since 7 years ago that this trade happened. What were your whole thoughts on the trade? Do you still believe that it's as terrible today as it was many, many years ago? And what was it like for you as an Eagles fan to see a guy like Nick Foles go through all that he went through and eventually bounce back and come back to Philadelphia and deliver the first ever Super Bowl trophy in franchise history? This is your host with the most, Philly Jim, and I'll see you guys later.